Hello BookTube, Sarah here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with the mid-year book tag. I've seen this going around BookTube for the last few weeks as the mid-year book freakout tag, and I know this is an older tag. I think it was created in 2015, and I think it gets rehashed every year, with just, of course, doing the books for this year. I wasn't actually tagged by anybody as far as I know, but I am behind on watching videos, so maybe I was. If I was, consider me doing this tag now. The creators of the tag were Read Like Wildfire and Earl Grey Books, and I will leave links in the description box below, of course, to both of their videos, along with links on everywhere you can find me on social media, and all the books that I am going to talk about. So let's jump in and get started. The first question is, best book you've read so far in 2017? And I actually have a list that I've been keeping of all my 5-star books of the year. And I went through that list, and, you know, even within, 5-star reads, there are still some that you're going to love more than others. And my favorite book so far this year is the all-girls fill-in station's Last Reunion by Fannie Flagg. I listened to this on audio, and it was narrated by Fannie Flagg. I talked about this book fairly recently. I read it in May, so if you're interested to find out more, check out my my May wrap-up. I love this book. It's a great historical fiction novel, but it takes place in modern day as well. It's a really great family story. I highly recommend it. So far, best book of the year. Question number 2, best sequel you've read so far in 2017. Again, I went to that 5-star reads list that I have, and there were a couple books that were actually sequels in a series, or, next books in a series. And I picked my favorite of those, and that is The Viscount Who Loved Me by Juliet Quinn. Book number 2, I think it is, in the Bridgerton series. It's a great historical romance. The series is about a family. It takes place in Regency times. Wonderful, wonderful story. Absolute favorite. Number 3, new release you haven't read yet, but want to. And that book is The Girl with the Make-Believe Husband, also by Julia Quinn. This is the second book in another series that she's doing that's a spin-off of the Bridgerton series. And I am super duper excited about reading this series. This one especially because it is a Regency novel, but a good chunk of it takes place in colonial America. So that's a little different than your typical historical romance, so I'm really looking forward to it. Question number 4. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I went through my pre-orders list that I have on Amazon for everything I have pre-ordered for the Kindle. And I think the book that stood out to me the most is You Say It First by Susan Mallery. It's coming out on August 29th. This is the first book in a new series that she's doing. She is the author of the Fool's Gold series, which I love, so I'm very much excited that she's starting a new series and cannot wait to read it. And I think book 2 comes out this year as well, so that's exciting. Question number 5, biggest disappointment. Now, I read this as it's a book that I was hoping was going to be better, or I was really anticipating it on it being better because I love this author, but it really fell flat for me, and that is The Best Laid Plans by Sarah Morgan. Sarah Morgan is an amazing writer, but this one I did not like it at all. I didn't like the characters, I didn't like the plot. I found it trudging to get through. Not some of her best work, let's put it that way. That wasn't by Sarah Morgan, that was by Sarah Mayberry. I apologize, I wrote it down wrong. Best Laid Plans by Sarah Mayberry. Also a really good author, but I still didn't like it for all the same reasons. Sorry, guys. Question number 6, the biggest surprise. Now, I kind of found I find this question a little funny because you don't go into reading a book thinking, oh, I'm not going to like this. You're going to read a book because you think you're going to like the book. But I picked this one because not only did I really like it, but I was surprised in the fact that it's not typically what I read. And I'm surprised that I liked it as much as I did. And I ended up, spoiler alert for my June wrap-up, I gave this book 5 stars. And that is Juliet's Answer by Dixon. I just finished this last week, or a couple weeks ago. It is a nonfiction novel about a man named Glenn. It's kind of a memoir of a time in his life. And he ends up going to Verona to actually answer letters that were written to Juliet from Romeo and Juliet fame. Fantastic book. I absolutely loved it. I highly recommend it. Question number 7. Favorite new author, a debut author or a new to you author? And this is a new to me author, and that is Sonali Dev, and she wrote The Bollywood Bride that I read earlier this year that I absolutely loved. totally, I mean, it was a contemporary romance, but that it was Indian culture, and I loved it. And I have pre-ordered her new book. I have purchased some of her back catalog. I'm really looking forward to reading more by her. She is a wonderful, wonderful writer. Question number 8 and number 9. I didn't answer these because I just found them a little, it's not really something I consider when I read books. And the first one was newest fictional crush. That's not something that I look at when I'm reading. And the other one is newest favorite character. I have a lot of favorite characters, and it would be really hard for me just to pick one. So I kind of took the easy way out, and I'm not answering those. Question number 10, book that made you cry. The one book that I can think of off the top of my head that actually, that pushed it, and the fact that I got this emotional over the book is what pushed it from a 4.5-star read to a 5-star read. Emotion plays a big part for me in reading, and I really feel that when I get emotional, that it means I'm really invested in the story. And that's Caught by You by Jennifer Bernard. Your typical contemporary romance about a minor league baseball team. This is the second book in the series, and the first one was fantastic. And, you know, there's this one scene in the book that just, it wasn't ugly sobbing tears, but it was like happy tears in a way. I know, it sounds weird. And it wasn't even the happily ever after that did that. It was another scene entirely in the book. And I really, really loved it. Question number 11, book that made you happy. I took a cop-out on this one too, and I actually went for 2 books. And that is both books that I've read so far in the Manhattan with Love series by Sarah Morgan. So Sleepless in Manhattan is book number 1, and Sunset in Central Park is book number 2. Both books I read this year. Love them. Cannot wait to continue with this series because it is absolutely fantastic. Question number 12. Favorite book to film adaptation that you saw this year? I don't watch movies, and I don't really watch a lot of television, to be completely honest. So I had to go with Outlander. I'm rewatching the first season. It's now on Netflix, and I'm getting into season 2 shortly, I hope. I actually mentioned the series to my mother. She's like already halfway through season 2. She's loving it, but it's so well done. If you're a fan of the Outlander books and you're a little hesitant to try the TV show, definitely give it a shot. It really does stay very true to the book. Question number 13. Favorite video that you've done so far this year? My favorite video so far that I've done is where I find ebook deals, because I read pretty much exclusively on an e-reader. I thought that was a really fun video to do, and I think people got a lot of great things out of it. So I will leave a link to that video as well in the down bar in the description box below if you're interested in seeing it and you haven't. Question number 14, the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I went through Goodreads and I looked at everything that I have to be read, and I kind of scrolled through quickly looking at the covers, and this book I bought in January, but it stood out to me, and it's Starlight on Willow Lake by Susan Wiggs. I mean, that cover is just stunning. It just screams contemporary romance as far as I'm concerned. And the last question, question number 15. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? I'm not actually going to answer this with book titles because I don't have any set books that I want to read by the end of the year. I have my TBR. And every month, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know I'm doing the Triple RC Challenge, the Reader's Romance Reading Challenge. It's a group on Goodreads. And every month they do a monthly challenge, and you get 10 categories, and you have to pick books that fit into those categories. So I don't know from month to month what books I'm going to be reading in the next month. So I can't really say what books I plan on reading before the end of the year. But I will tell you, as of filming this, which is the 19th of June, I have 77 books left to finish my 150 book challenge for the year. So I'm actually above. I think according to Goodreads, I'm 4 books ahead of schedule right now. So that is awesome. A lot of the audiobooks I've been listening to has really pushed me over the top, and that's just fantastic. So anyway, guys, that's the end of that tag. I really enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun. I'm not going to tag anybody because I don't know. Like I said, I've seen this quite a bit. But if you haven't done it and you want to do it, consider yourself tagged. And until my next video, guys, take care and happy reading. Bye.